Hello, Chief Delph here. So, should you play Epic 7 in 2025? It's a new year. This game's been out since 2018, I think, 2019. And so it's been around a while, and it's evolved a lot over the years. But at its core, it's a PvP focused game, so that's going to be player versus player game modes. Some people say the story is good. There is quite a lot of story. There's also a lot of there's like 5 worlds, and then there's also a bunch of side story content that they've provided us over the years. It's just not my cup of tea. And then the end game PVE game mode is going to be Abyss here, which is climbing floors. It's extremely difficult. There are some people who love it. It's their cup of tea. But for me, it's just too difficult, too time consuming, and takes a lot of luck and RNG coming into play. So the main bread and butter of Epic 7 is the game mode World Arena, or RTA, Real Time Arena. And so this game mode requires, it's a draft style gameplay, so you're taking your units, your opponent's taking their units, and you are strategizing your picks and your bans based on what the meta is, and different units. The meta changes constantly, which I think is great. It keeps it fresh. No two seasons have played at all similarly, and this is absolutely a game mode that's unlike no other, and is honestly the reason I would recommend playing this game in the first place. And so the thing that a lot of people get scared about is, how like RTA seems like such an end game thing, right? Well, really, realistically, you could get to a point where you can get, masters, which is kind of the baseline level people like to get in RTA, as a new player. And so it's definitely worth trying out, especially if you've never tried the game before. If you have, a few years ago, I think I would come back to it and try it out. So the game is extremely generous. So getting and pitting new units is something that everyone can do. It's completely free to play. You can get all the new limited summon units like Young Senya here. You can pity every single one of them, not have to rely on any RNG. It's 120 summons per pity in this game. And so you can pity every unit, you don't have to worry about that. The units that are going to be difficult to acquire are going to be these Moonlight units. So these are the premium units, the light and dark units. These have a much higher pity of 200. It's a lot harder to get the resources to summon on that banner. The random summon banner for these is a pity of 20, but it could be a 4 or 5 star. And these are, far and few between summons that you actually have. And these are the PvP focused, like very meta relevant units, these Moonlight 5-star units. But beyond, you don't need any of them to succeed, and you actually get 2 for free just by playing the game. And you get to pick as well. It's not like you get like this one dude who's like really mid. Like you get 2 units that you can pick to be pretty meta relevant. So getting units in this game is extremely easy, and there's nothing to worry about there. Anyone can do it, and you can have a great roster just by not even trying, just over time. Where the game does try to get you in exchange is gear, and so there is a very intricate gear system that requires rolling a gear to 15, and then it has different substat rolls, and this takes a lot of time to learn. However, the game gets you a lot of this free gear here, which is something that kind of sets you on a good foundation. The game provides you with so many free units, so many free gear options at the beginning, that you have such a solid foundation to get into like the really juicy stuff, the RTA, right? And so, rolling gear and getting good gear is something that takes time to learn. But in my opinion, it's actually a really cool process because every piece of gear can be completely different. And what that means is that the most fun of this game, and my favorite part of it, is building units, because every unit can be built however you want. For example, this is a unit that is built quick and is built with high damage, Lilius, but a lot of people can run her on a slower build that's on like a counter-attacking set. And so either of those builds are completely viable, and because of the build diversity and because there are so many set options, you're not going to see a lot of different ones, but there are so many set options and combinations. There is a lot of diversity, not just in the units, but you could see a unit that could be built 10 different ways. And I think that's just something really cool that a lot of games can't do, especially gacha games. And so Epic 7 is really, really good at doing that. And so with gear, it sounds overwhelming, but it just takes a little time to learn. And once you've learned it, it's kind of just a steady trickle in of good gear over time. But that is definitely one of the most daunting things for new players, but there's a lot of resources out there. I have a gear guide. There's other gear guides by other content creators, and we're all here to help you get set up and help get you going. And like I said, the game gets you a lot of free gear. So you're going to be building, PVE units on pretty mid gear, but there's a lot of free gear you get to complete all that PVE content and set up essentially a foundation to feed your PvP units. So you don't really have to worry about honestly rolling much gear at all for your PvE teams. So the game really gives you so much free stuff. It is so generous. I mean, we got this huge event on the anniversary, 5th anniversary, that was tons of gear, tons of free units and stuff. And so Smilegate has done a really good job of providing us with a lot of events, a lot of ways to get resources and cool stuff. And so it's a good, the community complains a lot, but they're spoiled because we get a lot of great stuff. So now back to RTA, I want to talk about it a little more because it's the most important part of the game to me and to most other people. There's a guild war, so that's 3v3 units, but there is our arena mode as well where you fight static defenses. But in real-time arena, there's a lot of stuff that goes on with like strategy and figuring out, what your bans are going to be, like what play style your opponent's going for. And I think it's just a really cool game mode. And then the one thing is there are a lot of different rankings. So I can't see season reward, but the ranking tiers are like bronze, silver, gold, master, challenger, champion. And in champion you get, or in master and above, you get like a skin. Every season everyone gets a free skin. Like last season was Flan. And so everyone kind of shoots for masters, and you can get masters. There's YouTubers like Deity and stuff who have done it. Shout out to Deity, by the way, the GOAT. But there are people who have done like in a week, like get to masters on a new account, free to play completely. And it's totally doable. And what it really requires is learning game knowledge, so learning the units, which is something you can do through Draft Arena. And then it also requires just getting comfortable with building new units and understanding how gear works, understanding everyone's kits and learning. And I think it's really cool because it's a big learning curve, but it's really satisfying, or it's really nice to like understand counter picks and like start to wrap your head around things. And it's a very in-depth game. And that being said, if you want to do well, you can still push and you can have as much fun as you want. There is a meta every season. The meta has gotten more and more mandatory for higher ranks. For example, if you want to push into top 1000, which is Emperor, you kind of have to play for the meta, one of a few play styles, right? And that requires having a certain few ML5s, having a certain few limited units, some collab units, and so that can be frustrating and dissuading. However, don't let that dissuade you, because for people like schmucks like us who just want to muck around and champion, there are tons of people who do completely troll teams. I've lost to some stupid 3 stars that I forgot what their kits mean and stuff, because people just have fun and they enjoy messing around with units and just enjoying the game, because the game has a lot of fun, and I would not recommend chasing the meta or trying to play get every unit to let you do well in the meta. You just gotta have fun, and this game mode has so much room for fun, and so it's definitely something that, like, at its core, I gotta recommend this game for. And because the game gives you so many free goodies, and because they set you up so well, it's really not that hard to get into the really juicy stuff, the RTA. So if you are interested in trying the game out, I'm going to be working on a new player guide in the next few weeks. So if you're not on the Discord or you're not following on Twitch, make sure to join those things. Links are in the description, and you'll get updates on that. And if you have any questions, we love to help everyone out. This game is a PvP game, so you're going to be interacting with other players. So it's really nice to have a community to fall back on. And so we like to provide that in the Discord. And there's a lot of people who would love to help you out. But yeah, it's a really fun game, and I haven't ever found a game that can do what this game does. I know some others were similar, but it does not have nearly as appealing of an art style or an animation care. They put a lot of dedication into these animations. You should watch some of the compilations on YouTube. It's very cool stuff. But yeah, this is a game that's absolutely worth trying out. Even though the game's 5 years old, what that really just means is there's a lot more characters to learn, but you will learn them in time, and honestly, that's part of the fun, right? Is figuring out all these different units and all these funny team comps that people are playing around with and enjoying. So that kind of sums it up. Again, just reach out if you need anything, and hope you enjoy.